guys all love football. You watch on Thursday night, Prime Video, Thursday night's football team, and you see the guy who's anchoring the coverage. He's not technically the anchor, but he's anchoring the coverage. See a left tackle there on the set, pregame and postgame. It is Andrew Whitworth. Andrew, thanks for hanging out with Brother from Another. We're just a little show, trying to do the best we can. And I want to ask you this, because this time last year, I was arguing with Michael Smith about the Rams, who was all on the Rams bandwagon. He was on the Rams bandwagon. I said, I don't know about this team. I don't know if they have what it takes. You guys are making that push. And not only did you make the push, you made it to the Super Bowl and won it. What was it like this time? What was your mentality this time last year as you were just getting ready to see what you could do in the playoffs?
I think really when you look at our season last year, you had some success early in the year. You built a pretty good foundation for what was going to be a good year. And then we really had that lull there where it's like, man, we all of a sudden kind of just lost ourselves a little bit. This time last year, we had really just kind of like, hey, we just got hot. We're starting to like rebound back from that Packers loss on the road and starting to get a lot of confidence and belief. And I thought there was really a mentality change. I think sometimes you look at it, you go out there and you compete to win football games, but then there's other times you go out there and you say, hey, I'm out here to win the physicality of this game, the challenge of who's going to be the most physical, who's going to be the most dominant, and the score will handle itself. And I thought we kind of flipped the switch from trying to win and win in a certain fashion and feel good about the way you beat a team to, hey, we're going to go win each and every snap with the energy, the passion, the physicality that we want to play with, and let the score kind of handle itself. And I think that was the biggest difference really in our team throughout that second half of the season and even in the playoffs is it was more about snap in and snap out and less about results. And that really led us to that point where you start going, man, things are going in our direction. Things are starting to happen. You start to see the emergence of Odell Beckham and Von Miller and these things as the stretch went down and why they were such big additions. It was a lot of fun, I can tell you that.
You know, Andrew, all the interviewing experts tell you that to save your toughest questions for last, I'm gonna break the rules. I'm gonna ask you the toughest question. Number 2, what's it like to work with Michael Smith? Be honest. Now, be honest now.
Man,
tell us, what's it like to work with him?
Mike's great. We've had some great conversations to philosophize on life and all the world's problems, and I love doing that. So a cup of coffee and talk about ways things can be better everywhere for everyone is something that's a big passion of mine. And so we have some good combos, man. I love hearing his insight and just his perspective on things. It's so cool. I've learned a lot just from those conversations and really his mentality around media and everything else. Has been a lot of fun for me because I'm in a whole new world now and I'm learning a lot of things and hearing somebody like him who just represents in such a great way. It's been a lot of fun for me to be around people like that and just try to be as much of a sponge as I can.
Man, I'm always so mean to him. And to hear that nice answer, I got to reconsider, the way I treat him. That was a better answer than I expected. But you did mention that you're new to this game. And it must be an incredible transition. You play football for such a long time. You're the oldest left tackle in football, 41 years old when you retired. What's it like to go from this life that you've known pretty much most of your life to this media game with people like us? What's been I'd say the biggest transition for you?
It's been crazy. I think I've more been shocked and kind of just inspired really throughout it because I think for so long, what I did playing left tackle, it's really about understanding the defense to some degree and really some of the things you're trying to do, but mostly it's about your matchups and who you're blocking and how you're going to block them, and then also the plays you're going to run. And so for me, really to go from this pretty small focus of, obviously with my career, it got a lot bigger just because I played so long and I understood more naturally. But really always a small focus of, you're facing Nick Bosa this week or Terrell Suggs or James Harrison or Dwight Freeney or, John Abraham, all the guys over the years, DeMarcus Ware, just tremendous rushers, and Von Miller that you're trying to just, hey, how do I block this guy? And now to get to a place where I'm studying the game in its entirety, everything from a front office to draft picks and everything in between, systems, schemes, players, you name it. And so for me, it's been just so exciting because now all the attention and detail I used to give to that part of my life Now I'm giving it to being able to understand what I'm looking at and what I believe in the game of football, and I've never been more excited to watch. I mean, every week, I don't want to miss one single game. I want to catch every game, whether I'm talking about it or not. And then obviously you have the teams that you have a heart for because you played there or you have some kind of relationship with somebody there that you want to watch. So I've just loved being a fan / media member who just is invested in watching the league and where it's going. I couldn't be more excited to be exactly where my feet are right now.
You talk about these teams and organizations. It's not just a winning team, it's a winning organization when you win a championship like you guys did last year. I remember talking with Teddy Bruschi once, and he said, on our championship teams, there was a moment. Well, I didn't know we were going to win it, but there was this moment I knew that we could. There's some moment in the season where you're like, oh, we can do this. Was that the case last year for the Rams? And if so, when was that moment for the Rams?
It sounds crazy to say this. I believe our moment last year for that was in Green Bay when we got just crushed by the Green Bay Packers, playing in Green Bay. That was our third loss in a row. And at the end of the game, we were down a ton. We made a run to make it a game right before it ended. That was really the first big play Odell had made since he'd joined us. We'd kind of been off, not playing as well. Odell catches the ball for a touchdown. And then we kind of made a run there at the end of that game. And I can remember standing in the locker room with Odell, Stafford, Kupp, everybody, and we were kind of in a little circle, just kind of talking the game over, assessing it. And it wasn't one of those situations where guys were down and pouting and just like, oh, man, so upset and disappointed. Every guy to a man looked at each other and like, man, dude, just something about that last half of football. If we can find a way to bottle that, we can win it. And like, it was the most confident loss I'd ever sat in the locker room after. Like, guys were literally confident after losing, like, hey, if this is the best team and this is one of the teams we have to go through, we can beat this team if we have to. And if they're the best, we can beat everybody else. And we left there feeling like this season's about to change. And sure enough, it did.
That's an interesting story, really. Sometimes teams get inspired, even though from the outside looking in, we say, oh, they're in trouble. And you look at these two teams that you have on Thursday night. You got Jacksonville under 500, but you feel like there's some momentum with Jacksonville. And Trevor Lawrence, he's playing with the confidence. And then the Jets, they're 500, but there's some uncertainty there with the number 2 overall pick, Zach Wilson, seemingly making every throw for his starting job. How do you see this game, just the dynamic of it, as you go into it and prepare to analyze it?
Well, I think it's very similar to the story I just told you. Look at Trevor Lawrence. I mean, a lot of his, the streak, I go back to the Denver game when he said, after that game, I never want to put my team in this situation again. I never want to be the guy who's the reason we're losing these games because of something I'm doing. I want to make it right, and I want my team to believe that I'll put them in a situation to win. And you look at how he's played since then, and it's been lights out, right there with the best in the NFL in a lot of statistics. He's been on fire, and that was his moment where he said in a downtime and a loss, like, you know what? I'm going to change it from right here. And I think he's done that, and he's shown that. And then you look on the other side, the Jets are still waiting for Zach Wilson to have that moment. I don't think he's had it yet. You can even see last week, there's still plays he makes, but this is the reality. He's the number 2 pick, and his arm talent's unbelievable. Like, those plays aren't the exceptional plays that I'm looking for. I want to see him play the game of quarterback the best he can, and that is go in there efficiently, run the offense, put his team in good situations, hit the easy throws that he can throw, and make more accuracy out of the pocket with his throws. It's those kind of things, just playing the actual position of quarterback better, that you want to see out of him, and him have that moment where he goes, hey, every single player who plays this game, I don't care what position you play, you reach a point where you realize talent doesn't matter. There's talent all over the football field. I've got to become the most efficient and consistent football player I can become if I want to be successful and I want to last in this league. And at some point, I need my moment to put my foot in the ground and say, I'm going to become that from this day forward. And he's got to find it because his team wants it. And now there's a lot of pressure from all over directions, just like you said, where it feels like every throw and every decision he makes is being scrutinized to the nth degree. And it's because he's put himself a little bit in that situation, but he's got to find a way to say, I want to embrace it, put it on my back, I'm going to take it on, and I want this challenge. I want this adversity because I'm going to show y'all who I am.
Final question for you, Andrew. I love December football, December and January, when you start to separate from the pack. So you're a champion, and I think a real champion who can recognize another champion, whether they have that degree already or not, or they're about to get it. So as you look around, who's got that look? Who's got that look for you? You say, all right.
I think when you look around, man, you got to look at some of these teams, that we're kind of up and down on throughout the year, and then also the teams that have been good all year. And I think you look at Philadelphia, obviously people first thing want to do is point to all the weapons they have and how Jalen Hurts has played. But I think you cannot emphasize enough what having Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey and some veteran O-linemen that have won it before, that have been in this time before, understand what December football is, understand what playoff football is. And then look on the defensive side with Brandon Graham and Fletcher and those guys. Like, they've got the pedigree of, hey, we got young talent, but we also got old heads who've done it and played that way. They love physical football. They love December football and playoff football. They've been there before, and they can give the guidance to all that talent and ability. That's why I still think, regardless of how people try to find a way to say that Philadelphia is going to fall off, they've got the experience to handle that situation best. And the Niners are that kind of team too. But when I look at those two teams, I put them together, as much as I believe in the Niners defense and their schemes and everything else, you just got to say at the end of the day, both teams are super talented. What am I going to go off of? Let's go off just quarterbacks. Although Brock Purdy's an awesome story, I'm still going to say I think Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy out of that situation that rises to the top. So I still have to say the Eagles are going to be there. And then in the AFC, man, Cincinnati just finds ways without regardless of injury and everything else. They're finding ways to win. And guess what? They got there last year. They know what it means to get hot. I still think it's Cincinnati, Buffalo, and the Chiefs. But I think this year you'd have to lean on Buffalo and Cincinnati have been able to play more complementary football where they're really good on defense and offense. So I think it's going to come down to one of those two teams. And I think Cincinnati might find a way to pull it off.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Talk about you won with your most recent team last year, your first team, the Cincinnati Bengals. It'd be great to see them win their first Super Bowl in franchise history. They've been there a few times, but it'd be good to see them pull that off. He's Andrew Whitworth. You can check him out on Prime Video's Thursday night football coverage. Andrew, we love watching you. We love listening to you. And now you're officially part of the Brother from Another Family. Come back with Michael Smith. Please bring Michael Smith back. I think you've been in that seat longer than Michael Smith has been there this week. So you could always hang out with us. We appreciate you.
Anytime, man. I'd love to. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.